What is up, boys and girls? Welcome to TVET Tutorials. Doc over here. I am back. Yes, I am back with another video for you guys. Today we are answering a previous question paper from Communication N5. It is the second paper and it was written on the 2nd of December 2019. Right? Let's go ahead and look at the set of questions that I will be answering today. There we go. As per usual, make sure that you guys follow instructions. If you are being asked to draw the organogram of this personnel agency, you need to draw the organogram of this personnel agency. So we have a scenario over here. Let's read what the scenario says. So it says People's Purpose Personnel Agency. Okay, this personnel agency is divided into 3 departments. We have business development, recruitment, and finance. Right, below the general manager is the business development manager, who coordinates marketing and research. Her subordinates are the marketing supervisor, who supervises a marketing agent, and the research supervisor, who supervises a researcher and the ICT specialist. Right, while the business development manager works to bring in new clients, the recruitment manager works to bring in new candidates. The recruitment manager therefore coordinates 2 recruiters with the help of the recruitment supervisor, and 2 data captures with the help of the database supervisor. The financial manager manages 1 accountant and a sales supervisor, who supervises 1 sales agent. Right. The first question therefore says, draw the organogram of this personnel agency. Right. As you can see, I came up with an organogram here. We're gonna go through it and I will sort of like explain to you guys how it is layered. Or I'm gonna we are basically being asked to put the information that we just read out into an organogram. Right. So if we check our scenario again, it says this personnel agency is divided into 3 departments. Right, so on our organogram we need to see 3 departments. Right, as you can see, this is the first department, the second department, and you have the third department. Right, basically this is how you tell that an organization has how many departments. Directly below the CEO or the general manager, you see all the group of managers or head of departments. Most of the case we just call them HODs or head of departments. Right, those are employees that are directly under your general manager or your CEO. Right, so your number of managers in that line on the organogram will tell you how many departments the organization actually has. Right, so as you can see with our structure, there are only 3 managers. Right, let's just add the manager over here, manager, and the finance manager as well. There we go. Right, so we have our 3 departments over here. We've tackled that part of the statement. Right, the next statement then says business development, recruitment, and finance. Those are our 3 departments. Right, below the general manager you have the general manager. Right, below the general manager is the business development manager. We have the business development manager over here, who coordinates marketing and research. Right, we have marketing and research. Right, her subordinates are the marketing supervisor, who supervises a marketing agent. So under the business development manager, there's a marketing supervisor under the marketing as one of the branches under business development, we have marketing. Right, and then marketing is being run by the marketing supervisor, or the marketing team rather. The marketing team is run by the marketing supervisor, who oversees the marketing agent. Right, 1 marketing agent. And then we have a research supervisor, who supervises a researcher and the ICT specialist. Right, you have your research supervisor here, who is overseeing 1 researcher and 1 ICT specialist. right? So that is the business development department. And then our statement further says that while the business development manager works to bring in new clients, the recruitment manager works to bring in new candidates, right? So we have the recruitment manager. Remember, the recruitment manager is also directly under the general manager, right? So the recruitment manager is is basically tasked with bringing in new clients, meaning new employees into the organization, not clients. Bring in new candidates, your employees, right? So the recruitment manager therefore coordinates two recruiters, right? You have your two recruiters over here. However, this recruitment manager is overseeing these two recruiters tasks and responsibilities through the recruitment supervisor, right? And then we have the database supervisor. The database supervisor is therefore responsible for overseeing the tasks and responsibilities of two data capturers, which we have over here, right? And then right there you have the recruitment department, right? And then you have the finance manager, right? The finance department. Now the last part of our statement says that the financial manager manages one accountant and a sales supervisor, right, who supervises one sales agent, right? So directly under the finance manager, you will have your accountant, your one accountant, and you will have your sales supervisor. Now under your sales supervisor, you will need to have your sales agent, right? And then in overall, you have your organogram complete, and it should look something like this, right? So that is that. Let's go ahead to the next question, right? It says indicate whether the following scenarios is a vertical, diagonal, or horizontal formal communication channel. Write only vertical, diagonal, or horizontal next to the question number in the answer book, right? So our next question says, or the first scenario rather, it says the 5 supervisors meet before the monthly management meeting, right? So we basically need to determine if this scenario is a vertical, diagonal, or horizontal formal communication channel, right? Where you have the 5 supervisors who meet before the monthly management meeting, right? So basically this scenario is a vertical communication channel, right? And it represents a vertical communication channel because it involves communication between individuals at different hierarchical levels within the organization, right? So the 5 supervisors who likely report to the general manager are meeting before the monthly management meeting. This type of communication is typically in organizations when information needs to be shared or discussed among different levels of management, right? We all need to make sure that we have our stories right before we go in to see the big boss, right? So that is basically what is happening right there, right? And then the next scenario says the recruitment manager briefs the recruitment supervisor and the database supervisor about their system upgrade, right? This is basically a vertical formal communication channel, right? This scenario involves communication from a higher level of management to subordinates, making it a vertical channel. The recruitment manager, who is likely higher in the hierarchy, is providing information to the recruitment supervisor and the database supervisor. This type of communication ensures that the team members are informed about the system upgrade and can align their work accordingly, right? And then we have the last scenario. The marketing supervisor asks the researcher for information on the newest private vocational college in town, right? This is a diagonal formal communication channel, right? This scenario basically represents a diagonal communication channel as it involves communication between individuals who are not in a strict hierarchical relationship. The marketing supervisor and the researcher are likely on the same hierarchical level or in different departments. The request for information may not be part of a formal reporting structure, but is a lateral or diagonal interaction for a specific task or inquiry, right? So diagonal communication helps in cross-functional collaboration and information sharing, right? It's just a typical employees just sharing information, right? So it makes it a diagonal communication channel, right? Let's go ahead and look at our next question, which says define briefing, right? Briefing is a concise, structured meeting or presentation that provides essential information, instructions, or updates. Right? Basically, when we are gobozing, we are briefing each other, we are updating on each other. Right? What is trending, what is on the news, when we are updating each other, that is literally briefing. Right? So let's look at our next question. Quote an example of external communication from the scenario, right? People's purpose, personal agency, the one that we read. So we are instructed to directly quote an external communication from the entire scenario, right? So an example of an external communication from the scenario could be the business development manager reaching out to potential clients or the recruitment manager interacting with potential candidates outside the organization, right? Remember, anything that has to do with external means it is outside of the organization. Internal means it is happening in-house. So if the supervisor is if one of the supervisors is communicating with one of the managers, then it is internal communication because it is happening in-house, right? But once we try to relay a message from outside of the organization, then it becomes external communication, right? So those are two of the examples that you can quote as your answer. Let's go ahead and look at the next question, which says, indicate whether the following statements are true or false, right? Only true or false next to the question number in the answer book. The input of an external specialist is required in a disciplinary interview, right? That one is basically false, because remember what I just mentioned now, that any type of communication that is happening within the organization is internal affairs, right? Once you include the word external, then you are speaking into something that is happening outside of the organization, right? So that is what an external specialist is, someone basically who deals with external matters. You understand? Instead of internal matters, they deal with external matters. Now remember that disciplinary interview is an internal matter. It is an in-house matter. Whenever there is a disciplinary case, it is handled within the organization, right? So an external specialist is not necessarily required during a disciplinary interview, right? The next question says the aim of organizational communication is to reach the goals of the organization, which is true. And then we look at the next question, which says copy the following table in the answer book and tabulate the differences between internal communication and external communication, right? So it seems like we have to differentiate two or tabulate two differences between internal communication and external communication based on their aims or functions and also media or examples, right? Let's go ahead and look at the first differences. The first difference is facilitates collaboration within the organization, disseminates information among employees, ensures understanding of goals and policies, right? That is basically the aim or function of internal communication, right? And then as far as the external communication, it establishes and maintains relationships with entities outside the organization, conveys information to external stakeholders, customers, suppliers, etc. You understand? Basically the same thing that I've been saying before. If ever anything deals with internal, that means it is something within the organization. Once it becomes external, it now goes outside of the organization. You understand? So the aims and functions of internal communication is to spread the message within the organization, to share information within the information. You understand? So that all the information, the employees understand the information and they are all in the same, we are basically in the same boat. We are basically all working towards achieving the same goal and following the same policies and procedures. You understand? And then with external communications, basically the aim is to spread the message from outside of the organization. You understand? And this is done maybe through advertisements and stuff like that. You understand? And then let's go ahead and look at the next difference between these two. For internal communication, as far as the media or examples, we have meetings, emails, internal memos, intranet communication, right? So basically anything that the organization would use as a way of communicating internally, you understand? Though that would be maybe having meetings, having sending emails, or having internal memos or intranet communication, stuff like that, you understand? If I send an email to my supervisor, that is an internal communication. However, if I sell an advert to a potential customer, then that becomes external communication, right? Which actually brings us to our difference as far as external communication under media and examples, which are press releases, advertising, customer service interactions, public relations efforts, all those things. If we are basically doing something within the organization to influence anyone who is outside of the organization, that forms part of external communication, right? That is that, Buffeto. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you are watching and you still haven't subscribed, click on the subscribe button, click on that bell icon so that you get instant notifications for every time we drop new content. You do not want to miss out. All the links to our social media will be appearing at the top of the screen. Make sure you check them out. Communicate with us if you would like for us to cover a very specific topic. Let us know. We will make it happen. As I always say, Buffeto, from myself and my team at TV Tutorials, adios.